My daughter was burning up, struggling for every single breath, and when I called my husband for help, he was in a business meeting. He just wouldn't leave. He told me later he'd silenced his phone because the deal was too important. He chose his job over our child. Now, he says I'm overreacting, that I'm trying to ruin his career and our life together. But as I sat all alone in that cold, sterile hospital room, watching our daughter fight to breathe, I realized our life together was a lie. He didn't just silence his phone. He silenced his family. To anyone looking in, our life was perfect. We had the house in the suburbs with the perfect lawn and the 2-car garage. We hosted barbecues for friends who always said things like, "You two are so lucky." And we had Lily, our beautiful, bright, 5-year-old daughter, the absolute center of my world. Davo, my husband, was the provider. He was handsome, ambitious, and incredibly driven. Honestly, when we first met, that drive was one of the things I loved about him. He had this fire in his eyes, this passion for building a future. He'd talk for hours about his goals, about climbing the corporate ladder, not just for the money, but for the success, the recognition. He always said he wanted to build an empire for us, a life where we'd never have to worry, and I believed him. I supported him. I was the understanding wife. When he missed our 3rd anniversary dinner because a client flew in last minute, I told myself it was fine. I ate the sad, single portion of pasta I'd made and told him on the phone that I understood. "This is for us, Sarah," he said, his voice buzzing with the deal he was closing. "It'll all be worth it." When he missed Lily's first preschool family day, I was the one holding the camera, taking pictures of her with a butterfly painted on her cheek and a forced smile on my face. He got stuck in a quarterly review. The next day, a massive bouquet of flowers showed up with a note for my 2 favorite girls. "Sorry I missed it. Next time, I promise." There were always promises of next time. And like an idiot, I collected them, hoarding them like tokens I could cash in later for his time and attention. Looking back, the red flags were there. They weren't giant, waving banners, just small flickers of neglect I chose to ignore. They were the dinners where he was there physically, but mentally a million miles away. The bedtime stories for Lily that he'd rush through. His phone buzzing on the nightstand, pulling his focus with every little ping. I got so good at making excuses for him, not just to our friends, but to myself. He worked so hard for us, I'd whisper to myself, sliding into bed next to him, careful not to wake him. Our family wasn't a team of 3 anymore. It had slowly shifted into a binary system. Me and Lily, and then David, orbiting us from a distance, his gravity dictated by the stock market and his ambition. I became the default parent. I handled schedules, scraped knees, doctor's appointments, playdates, all of it. David handled the mortgage. On paper it seemed fair, but it left me feeling completely hollow. He was providing for our life, but he was absent from it. The week this all happened, he was particularly stressed. He was closing what he called the apex deal, a massive merger that he said would land him a huge promotion, maybe even a partnership. The house was electric with his stress. He was pacing on late-night calls, his voice a low murmur. "Just a few more days, Sarah," he'd said, grabbing my shoulders, his eyes wide with this manic energy. "This is the one. This is the deal that changes everything." I just nodded and told him I was proud of him, while a tiny, tired part of me wondered what everything he was talking about. Did it include family dinners? Or just a bigger house with an even more absent husband? That Tuesday night started out completely normal. I gave Lily her bath, and we read her favorite book about a lost star. She was a little quiet, her head resting heavily on my shoulder, but I just figured she was tired from kindergarten. I tucked her in, kissed her forehead. It felt a little warm, but not crazy warm. Kids get fevers. I told myself it was nothing. David was already on a conference call in his home office with the door shut. He'd waved a quick, distracted goodbye to Lily. An hour earlier, I went downstairs, tidied up the kitchen, and curled up on the sofa with a book. Around 10 p.m. I sent him a text. "Going to bed. Don't stay up too late. Love you." He didn't reply. I figured he was deep in concentration. I fell asleep thinking that in just a few days, the apex deal would be over. And maybe, just maybe, I'd get my husband back. I had no idea that by morning, I wouldn't even want him. I woke up to a sound. It wasn't loud, but it cut right through the silence of the house. A wheezing, rasping noise, a struggle for air. My eyes snapped open. For a second, I was disoriented, and then a mother's instinct flooded my body with ice-cold adrenaline. Lily threw off the covers and ran to her room. The sound was louder there, a strained, desperate gasp that filled the small space. I flicked on her lamp, and my heart just shattered. My vibrant little girl was pale, her lips tinged with blue. Her chest was caving in with every single breath. Her eyes were half open, glazed over with fever. I touched her forehead. She was on fire. This wasn't a mild fever. This was a furnace. Panic, raw and suffocating, clawed at my throat. "Lily, honey, Mama's here," I whispered, my voice shaking. She barely seemed to notice me. My first instinct was, David. I need David. He's always the calm one. He'll know what to do. I hid his name in my favorites. It rang once, twice, 3 times, then voicemail. "Hey, you've reached David. Leave a message." My blood ran cold. He never sends me to voicemail. "David, it's me," I said, trying to keep the terror out of my voice. "Something is wrong with Lily. She can't breathe right, and her fever is insane. Call me back. Call me back right now." I hung up and tried again. Straight to voicemail. Again, voicemail. My heart was hammering against my ribs. "He's in his meeting," a small part of my brain said. "The Apex deal." But a louder part screamed, "He's supposed to answer for me. We promised. We made that deal years ago, after I'd been in a small fender bender. No matter what. Sarah, if you call twice in a row, I'll answer. I'll know it's an emergency." It was our code, our lifeline. And it was failing. I looked at Lily, her tiny body working so hard for something as simple as air, and knew I couldn't wait. A terrifying thought washed over me. I am completely, utterly alone in this. I sent him one last desperate text, my thumbs shaking so badly I could barely type. "Lily! Seriously ill. Can't breathe. Going to ERP, LS call." The next few minutes were a blur. I wrapped Lily in her thickest blanket, grabbed my purse and keys, ran back for her favorite stuffed bear, and carried her downstairs. I passed David's office. The door was still closed. A sliver of light shone from underneath, a silent testament to the work that was more important than the desperate gasps for air echoing through his own house. A wave of rage, so hot it almost made me dizzy, surged through me, but I shoved it down. No time for anger. Only time for Lily. The drive to the hospital was the longest 15 minutes of my life. I kept talking to her, more for me than for her. "It's okay, baby girl. Mama's gotcha. We're almost there. Just keep breathing for me. Lily, please, just keep breathing." The streets were empty and dark. My phone, sitting in the cup holder, remained silent. Nothing. The silence from my husband was louder than my daughter's weeping up, screaming void where my partner was supposed to be. I ran into the emergency room and yelled, "Please, help me. My daughter, she can't breathe." They whisked Lily away immediately. Nurses and doctors hooked her up to monitors, put a tiny oxygen mask over her face, and started a breathing treatment. The beeps of the heart monitor and the hiss of the nebulizer became the new soundtrack to my nightmare. I stood in the corner, feeling useless. My hand clamped over my mouth to stifle my sobs. She needed her dad. We both did. The doctor, a kind woman with tired eyes, finally came over. "She has a severe case of croup, compounded by RSV," she explained. "Her airways are very inflamed. We've given her a dose of steroids, and we're going to admit her to keep a close eye on her. She's a very sick little girl, but she's in the right place." Relief, so powerful it made my knees weak, washed over me. She is going to be okay. But then that cold anger came creeping back. I pulled out my phone. It was almost 1 a.m., still nothing from David. I opened our texts. My last message was sitting there, marked delivered. He had seen it, or at least, his phone got it, and he had done nothing. The promise of next time echoed in my mind like a cruel joke. It was painfully clear that for David, next time was never going to come. When the most important this time of our lives was happening, he had made his choice. The hours in the hospital bled together, marked only by the beeping of the machines. Lily's breathing was finally evening out. She was asleep, looking so small and peaceful against the stark white pillow. I just sat in the uncomfortable chair beside her, holding her hand, feeling an exhaustion so deep it was in my bones. My phone had been silent for hours. At first, I made excuses. Maybe his phone died, maybe he didn't see it. But that hope faded, replaced by a cold, heavy certainty in my stomach. He hadn't called because he hadn't wanted to. Then, at 3:47 a.m., my phone finally buzzed. My heart leaped a stupid, reflexive jolt of hope. It was a text from him. My hands were shaking as I opened it. It read, "Just wrapped. Deal closed. We did it. Monumental. Going for a celebratory drink with the team? We'll be home in a bit. Hope you're sleeping well. Love ya." I read it 3 times. The words felt like they were from another dimension. Hope you're sleeping well. The casual cruelty of it knocked the wind out of me. I was in a hospital, living every parent's worst nightmare. While he was out for celebratory drinks, the rage I'd been pushing down came roaring back, so intense it left me breathless. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I just sat there, frozen. That text message, glowing in the dark, showed me the profound, unbridgeable canyon that had just opened up between us. He didn't even ask about Lily. It was as if my calls and my terrifying text had never even happened. In that moment, something Inside me broke. The part of me that made excuses, that believed in the empire he was building for us. It all just turned to dust. I didn't need him. I had gotten her here. I had saved her. I was enough. An hour later, my phone rang. His name flashed on the screen. I stared at it for a second, then answered, my voice completely flat. Hello? Hey, you're awake? His voice was loud, a little slurred. I tried to be quiet coming in, but the house is empty. Where are you guys? I took a slow breath. We're at the hospital, I said. A pause. The hospital. Why? Is everything okay? The fake concern in his voice was the final insult. No, David, everything is not okay, I said quietly. Lily couldn't breathe. I called you 3 times. I texted you. Lily has severe croup and RSV. She's been admitted. She's on oxygen. The silence on the other end was different this time. It was the silence of someone who'd just been caught. Oh my God, he breathed. Sarah. I silenced my phone. We were in the final signing. I couldn't have any interruptions. I didn't see your texts until just now. A clumsy, pathetic lie. My message said delivered. You didn't see it? I asked, my voice dripping with sarcasm. Or you saw it and decided a monumental deal was more important than your daughter's life. That's not fair. Sarah shot back, getting defensive. What was I supposed to do? Walk out of a multi-million-dollar negotiation? This deal secures our future, Lily's future. I knew you could handle it. You're resourceful. I knew you could handle it. Those 5 words were the nail in the coffin of our marriage. It wasn't a compliment. It was an excuse. He stayed because he was selfish, and he trusted I'd clean up the mess. A terrifying calm settled over me. Our future, David, I whispered. There is no our future anymore. You made that clear tonight. Sarah, don't be dramatic, he snapped. I'm on my way. We'll talk about this. You're just tired and emotional. No, I said, the word solid and final. I slowly slid my wedding ring off my finger. I am tired, but for the first time in a long time, I'm not emotional. I'm seeing things exactly as they are. You chose your meeting. You chose your deal. You chose yourself. You just weren't choosing us. I ended the call, and then, finally, I blocked his number. In the quiet, gray light of dawn, I called my sister. I didn't cry. I just stated the facts. Lily is in the hospital. She's stable, but my marriage is over. Can we come stay with you? There was no hesitation, just an immediate, of course. I'm on my way. The doctor came in on her morning rounds and smiled. Her oxygen levels are much better, she said. She's responding beautifully. You've got her here at exactly the right time, Mom. You did a great job. Hearing those words, you did a great job, made a lump form in my throat. I had done a good job. I had saved her. Alone. David showed up around 8 a.m., looking like a mess. He was holding a giant, cellophane-wrapped teddy bear and a bouquet of flowers so big it was ridiculous. He looked like a parody of a guilty husband. He stopped in the doorway, his eyes darting between me, my sister, and Lily, who was awake watching. Cartoons? Sorry, he started, his voice soft and pleading. Can we talk? My sister gave my shoulder a squeeze and slipped out. There's nothing to talk about. David, I said, standing between him and our daughter's bed. Please, he begged. I messed up. I was arrogant, and I was wrong. I was so caught up in the deal, in what it meant for us. I lost sight of everything. I'm so sorry. His words sounded hollow, rehearsed. It was the same. I was working. For us, defense he always used. But the play was over. What future, David? I asked. The one where you're a partner at your firm, but a stranger to your daughter. The one where I handle every crisis alone while you chase success. That's not a future. That's a transaction. And I'm no longer interested. He flinched. I love you. I love Lily more than anything. I challenged. Because love isn't a feeling, David. It's an action. It's showing up. It's answering the phone. Last night, you chose a meeting over your family. You can't say you love us more than anything when you literally proved you love a deal more. You're twisting this. It was one night. He yelled, all right, you're really going to throw away our entire life over one mistake? And that's when I knew he'd never get it. This wasn't one mistake. This was the one time it mattered most. All the missed dinners and forgotten school events, they were just the previews. Last night was the main feature. Last night, you made your choice, I said calmly. And now, I'm making mine. I walked over, picked up my wedding ring, and held it out to him. His face went pale. Sarah, no. I am taking our daughter, and we are going to stay with my sister, I said, my voice unwavering. I dropped the ring into his palm. It was the quietest, most definitive sound I had ever heard. He just stood there, staring at the ring, his face a mask of disbelief. I think he finally understood this was a consequence, not a negotiation. I turned my back on him and walked back to Lily's bed. He left the ridiculous teddy bear slumped in the doorway. He's been calling my family and our friends, telling them I'm being hysterical and emotional, that I'm destroying our family over a single mistake. He thinks an apology and a new teddy bear can fix this. He thinks I'm supposed to just forget. So, I have to ask, am I the asshole for leaving my husband after he chose a meeting over our critically ill daughter? What do you think? Should I have given him another chance, or was this the final straw? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories, make sure you like and subscribe.